Big changes shaking up the real estate world. Big changes for the sellers, for the buyers, and for the realtors. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Galina Shekhtman. I'm a realtor in San Diego. I reside in San Diego since 1989, and I'm here today to explain what changes are we facing and where we at with the Realtors Commission. And the urgency of it, that this change not only just for the realtors and it's only just the commission, the changes are gonna shake up the sellers and the buyers. Buyers need to know certain stuff and sellers need to know their options. If you are on the market and buying a house right now or looking to purchase a house within the next few months or in the near future, that's what you need to know. I'm sure that everybody's seen that 6% realtor commissions are going away. Truly, nothing is going away. The structure is changed. So if we're gonna dive in old days, let's call it wild, wild west, the sellers only had realtors. Buyers were unrepresented and were acting as buyer beware, meaning that they were on their own. Seller had the representation, seller had the listing agreement with their agent, and the buyers were just coming into the house, into the properties, into the condo, and they were not represented. Buyers beware is a phrase derived from the Latin term, and it means that the buyer is responsible for checking the quality and sustainability of goods, or in our case, of the property before making a purchase. From negotiating the price and terms to the ordering inspection, reading the title reports, submitting the request for repairs and everything else, buyers were on their own. It made buyers very vulnerable because they were unprotected. A lot of lawsuit was filed due to the unrepresented buyers, and the buyers were not happy with their properties, or the houses were not as the buyer was expecting because they were undergo the inspections and so on and so forth. In early 90s, it created the buyer-broker agreement. So if we're gonna go previously and we're gonna look at the listing agreement, the commission was only for the buyers. So the newer listing agreement was stipulating that, for example, Compass and Galina representing the buyer getting 6% or 7% commission. And the line below, it was stating that Compass and Galina Shekhtman and the seller agrees to split the commission with the buyer's agent. So what has not changed? Like everything else in the real estate world, commission was always negotiable. The seller could negotiate the commission with the listing agent and input it in the listing agreement. This stays the same. In the seller's market, commission is 5 to 6%. In the buyer's market, some agent gives 7-8% just to help sell the property. I remember a time in early 90s where the properties were sold, you would not believe it, with the cars in the garage. High-end cars were sold with the property as a bonus to the new home buyer. 2, listing agreement is always has been present and present now, it's just modified. Number 3, buyer broker agreement was always in place too. It was used less than the listing agreement, but it was there. And I already said that typically, agent representing the seller charging 5 to 7% and splitting the commission with the buyer's agent. What do you need to know? The National Association of Realtors agreed to update the policies due to the class action lawsuit. I have to tell you that the lawsuit did not start in the state of California. California was clear cooperation state, and we had all the commissions spelled out. And the funny part, that the people who saying they were heard and they were not explained by their listing agents the amount of commission that they're selling, and they were unable to negotiate their commission. Guess how much are they getting after this multi-million lawsuit? Well, as of today, $7 a house or a person. I don't think it's even good enough to buy a cup of coffee nowadays. Changes that you should know that took effect on August 17th. Number one, the National Association of Realtors no longer allows offers of compensation for the buyer's agent in the listing agreement. What does it mean to you if you're a buyer and you're going on Zillow, Trulia, or any other website, Realtor, or any agent's website? You will not see the cooperating broker commission. It's gone. Multiple listing services will no longer include a field for broker's compensations. However, the seller still can offer the compensation to the buyer or buyer's agent. In today's world, it's gonna call concessions. It could be towards buyer's agent commission. It could be towards buyer closing cost. On that note, I have to tell you that almost every single seller that's selling their property in today's market is willing to offer buyer's broker commission because they do understand that it's extremely important to provide some commission, especially for the classes like first-time home buyers, FHA purchasers, and low-income families and other classes that are affected. It will not be able to come up with extra money for the buyer's agent commission. Most of the sellers, I will concur, most of the sellers are still offering the commission to the buyer's broker. And it's a smart move because they know if there would be no buyer, their home will not be sold. Buyers need to sign the buyer-broker agreement that outlines the compensations paid to their agent. What does it mean? Previously, if you were working with the buyer's agent and you were a buyer, and the agent was taking you to preview homes without buyer-broker commission, from August 17th, this is no longer possible. Like it or not, it's throughout the whole nation. You must sign the buyer-broker agreement before entering any properties with your agent. Guess what? If you think that you're gonna go to the open houses by yourself, not taking your agent with you, you will have to sign non-exclusive agreement. It could be for the one house that you're just looking at. It could be for the multiple homes, but you will have to sign the non-exclusive agreement before previewing any open house. The residential purchase agreement will be a vehicle for the buyer to ask for the seller's commission to pay buyer's agent. There is a purchase agreement, there is a buyer, and buyer will have a chance to check mark the box where it's stated that they're asking the seller's agent and the seller to pay them commission, or in today's world, as I said, it's called concession. Now let's talk about commission itself and what has been changed, and what does it mean to the buyer. I briefly explained it, but when the buyer is signing the buyer-broker agreement with the agent who represents them, the amount of compensation, or it could be a number, it could be a percentage of the purchase price, the buyer will have to pay their agent. So on the top of having your down payment and fracturing for escrow and title, the buyer will have to have an extra funds to cover buyer's broker just in case if the seller will not provide the commission. So let's talk about the reality for the buyers today. New commission rule might add pressure for some classes or groups of people who are in the tight budget as it is, making it harder for new home owners to manage mortgage and closing costs. So who will be affected? What are those vulnerable groups? First of all, it's the first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers usually have an FHA loan, or they're scraping dimes and pennies for their down payment, escrow and title, etc. And now they will have to have extra funds to cover the agent commission. Second group is low-income families and minorities. With limited financial resources as this, they will struggle even more to afford necessary expenses. The third group is seniors and people who are on fixed income. Raising closing costs, paying the commission for the older adults could be very difficult as they have fixed income as it is. Do they have to cut on their food? I don't know. And one more group who I feel for, it's our veterans who served our country, who had their loans with zero down payment and no extra money coming to the table. Now they will have to pay the commission to their buyer. Hopefully, again, they will ask the seller to pay the commission toward their purchase. In the perfect case scenario, they would get it. but I do feel very sorry for those 4 classes of people who will be struggling with the new purchases. Prices in San Diego are skyrocketing. They're high as it is, and adding an extra cost makes it almost impossible to purchase a property in San Diego. What has not been changed? The role of a realtor has not been changed. The real estate transaction is incredibly difficult. It's a process. It's very vulnerable. It's one of the biggest decisions or purchases people will make in their lives. It's very emotional. It's so many emotions. On one side, you have finances, on the other side, emotions. Buyers sometimes who are entering into the escrow have buyer's remorse and won't cancel out of escrow. So the process itself, it's very, very difficult. Having more difficulties doesn't help anyone, especially home buyers. In the short period of time, buyers have to navigate through a bunch of paperwork, through escrow paperwork and title paperwork, to perform physical inspection and see their appraisal and combine all of those documents and see the title reports, maybe doing the request for repairs after the inspections. All of that had to be done within period of 30 days. It is very difficult for the person who's doing it either the first time or not even the first time. If it's not your first property, still, you have so much paperwork to go through and so much documents to look through, understand them, and make the choice you still want to purchase the house or not. I'm gonna quote Miriam DeRegic from Compass. She wrote on the LinkedIn, "Why target an industry born from necessity? The real estate professionals came into existence because of need. They provide valuable service that simplifies and streamlines the home buying and selling process throughout professional guidance. Could restrictive changes to this industry set us back to a time when only wealthy could own property?" And I'm gonna explain why she said wealthy, because only wealthy were paying their commission to their seller's agent. Reminder, the buyer's agent were underrepresented and very vulnerable. In summary, while it's essential to ensure transparency and fairness in real estate transaction, we must be cautious about implementing changes that might inadvertently rock back to the clock on progress. Real estate industry exists because there were and continues to be a need for it. Let's not forget the valuable role it's playing in helping people achieve their dream of home ownership. What have we learned from this video? The real estate commission has changed. The structure has changed. The commission has not gone anywhere. People who work have to be paid, and realtors are very hard-working people. We know that the buyer's agent representation was emerged because buyers needed it. It came out of the need. The buyers were vulnerable and unrepresented, and it was not fair to them. We've discovered what has been unchanged. The commission is still there. Somebody has to pay it, either seller or the buyer. The commission are there, and they never were forced. And the commission were always then and now negotiable. The role of a realtor remains critical. Buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions of a lifetime. Buyers need trusted advisor to guide them through one of the largest and most significant purchases in their lifetime toward achieving their dream of home ownership. And having an agent by your side is more important than ever. Let's work together to make your dream a reality. What do you think about law changes? Did you know about any of those changes? What do you think about the commissions? You can leave the comment below or contact me directly. I'll be happy to connect with you. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. I hope this one was informative.